round of the DFB Pokal. There really is no substitute for match rhythm, match sharpness, match fitness. For Wolfsburg, this is their first game of the 2024-25 campaign. Koblenz already 2 games into their season. He picked up a 3-0 win against Kaiserslautern's reserve side on match day 1, but then last Saturday, suffering a 1-0 loss here at the Stadion Oberwert against FV Engers in what was their first home game of the season. The aim for Koblenz is to get back into the Regionalliga, the 4th tier of German football, as soon as possible after relegation last season. But if you listen to head coach Michael Stahl and some of the other decision makers at the club, they do have visions of returning Koblenz to even higher echelons of German football. This was a side that had a fleeting 4-year spell in Bundesliga 2. First won promotion in 2006. Stayed until 2010, enjoying their best times under head coach Uwe Rapolda. Now Michael Stahl, former player, an absolute legend in these parts. 36-year-old was involved in all 4 of Koblenz's last cup ties. And now the chance for the home team, and a last-ditch tackle that had to be well timed from Rida Baku, denying Igor Blagojevic. I tell you what, Koblenz have started with confidence here. Taken short, change of the angle. Not easy to deal with in the end. But for Kamil Grobara, his first save as a Wolfsburg goalkeeper in a competitive fixture. Polish 25-year-old signed from Danish outfit Copenhagen in the summer. Made 126 appearances, keeping 52 clean sheets in the Danish capital. Last season featuring in the Champions League as well, so quite a coup for Wolfsburg in terms of the man they have signed to replace Koen Casteels, a man who has left very big shoes to fill. Casteels himself has moved to Saudi Arabia after 9 years with Wolfsburg, 275 appearances in all competitions. Now the speed of thought from Koblenz on the money. Blagojevic knew it was a good chance. He'll be hoping that there are a few more of those to come tonight, but they might be few and far between. Towering header there from Sebastian Bornau. You look at the back 3 for Wolfsburg tonight, I mean, it's no nonsense to say the least. Cedric Ziesiger, Sebastian Bornau and Maxence Lacroix. Lacroix, our captain tonight for the Wolves. Ralf Hasenhüttl perhaps doing everything he can to try and keep the centre-back at the club, because there are strong links with a move to the Premier League that keeps circulating in both the English and German media. It's fair to say Maxence Lacroix, 24 years old, very promising career ahead of him. Can be very frustrating at times and make some rather rash decisions that have led to him having some disciplinary issues on the pitch when it comes to picking up yellow and red cards. But there is clearly a very talented centre-back in there. And rumours seem to be suggesting that there might be a reunion with his former Wolfsburg head coach Oliver Glasner at Crystal Palace. For now though, the first task at hand this season for the Frenchman is to captain Wolfsburg, hopefully to a first round cup win. Here he is on the ball. Well, they lost out there in a very ambitious effort from Dylan Esmel to try and catch Grabara off his line. And if you wondered whether Koblenz might be short on a little bit of confidence coming up against the men in neon green tonight, then think again based on that effort. But technically they've had the first two shots of the game, the home side, who have now done well to defend their lines at the back again. Right now, though, they are getting pinned inside their own half a little bit as we approach the 10-minute mark. Jakub Kaminski looking for that raking pass and finds it as well to pick out Baku on the opposite side. Baku trying to take on his man, but loses out against Zegli, who then has a turn of pace to burst forward for Koblenz. Here they go. Esmel can feed the run now, but Bornau with a strong challenge to stop the counter-attack in its tracks. And you get the impression right now Wolfsburg just need to settle into their rhythm, but they're going to have to cope with an early onslaught. Lovely little dummy. Ball comes through to Jonas Wind. Kaminski has the overlapping run but cuts inside. Kaminski goes for goal. Springs clear to Jonas Wind. Trying to tee up Sonberg. Baku can't pick out a teammate with the cross, but Wimmer will pick up the pieces. Gerhardt back to Wimmer. Gerhardt. Same intent, but same result there for Wolfsburg. Ralf Hasenhüttl, with this trademark 3-4-3 formation, loves to see width from his team. He's quite comfortable with them playing on their counter-attack, though I don't think many of those opportunities will present themselves for Wolfsburg tonight. He called this a typical first-round tie, where the underdog wants to create a sensation and the Bundesliga club wants to avoid embarrassment. Wolfsburg winners of this competition in 2015 when Dieter Hecking guided a star-studded side that included the likes of Luis Gustavo, Kevin De Bruyne, guided them to the ultimate glory. And Wolfsburg would love to go on another cup run this season, especially after the heartbreak of the previous campaign when, having knocked out the two-time defending title holders RB Leipzig, they lost in the round of 16 to a goal from Manu Kone in the 120th minute against Borussia Mönchengladbach. Tonight, in some ways, they're looking to heal the wounds ahead of a season they hope will perhaps begin restoring their reputation as a side capable of competing for European qualification and maybe further down the line even titles once again. Hasenhüttl at the start of the new campaign has said it's important for his side to build confidence in what they do so that they can trust their qualities no matter the opponent. So far they have dealt with the positive opening gambit from their hosts, starting to build some pressure off their own. Still waiting for their first chance on goal of the game. Teziger. Koblenz sitting very deep right now as Kaminski cuts inside again, looking for the cross. It's a dangerous one too. In the end, Yasin Yaman taking no chances, putting it behind for a corner. Baku, I think, actually got on the end of that Kaminsky cross. I think he was just surprised it came all the way through to him. Patrick Wimmer getting up close and personal with Michael Zadach, the Koblenz goalkeeper, and asking the referee just to have a look. Zadach is playing a bit of a risky game with Wimmer there. And Zadach immediately makes the appeal to the referee that he was being impeded there by the Wolfsburg winger, and an argument can be made, but clearly this is a tactic. Stand on the toes of the goalkeeper, make life as horrible as possible. Kaminsky with the corner again, and it's right there. Wimmer's there, heads home. Well, that is exactly what they were hoping to execute, Wolfsburg. Wimmer was making himself a real nuisance for Michael Zadach. Kaminsky put it right in the mix, right on the goal line. I mean, this could have gone in itself for an Olympico, but Wimmer just got his head there ahead of the fist of Zadach, and Wolfsburg on the quarter-hour mark have the lead thanks to Patrick Wimmer. And oftentimes goalkeepers can get very protected. I don't think there was any infringement there. Koblenz appeal. But Patrick Wimmer scores with Wolfsburg's first shot of this DFB Pokal first round tie. Michael Zadach might be able to get away with stuff like that in the fifth tier of German football, where referees might be a little bit more generous in those moments, but given the build-up to the corner, given the fact that Wimmer had put himself in the spotlight, he'd called the referee's attention to the situation, Wimmer actually did very well to stay very passive in that 6-yard box, and it was a very vertical leap. He wasn't infringing upon Zadach's ability to defend the corner. I think he did the first corner, but the second one, not the case. And now Koblenz need to just be careful not to lose their heads. Dylan Esmel already shown a yellow card. And I believe it was Karim Zegli that's been penalised there as well. And both yellow cards now dished out for protestations to the referee. And of course the new rules in place in Germany this year is that only the captain can talk to the referee, and any kind of emotional outburst about a decision can be penalised. And so far, 2 Koblenz players have felt the wrath of the new rules. And that's it. I think you can hear Michael Stahl, the head coach on the sideline, saying we can't get in the mix of debating with the referee. It's not the job. It has to be left to Daniel van der Braake. Here we get to see the corner again, and if anything, actually, it's interesting to see that because Zadach is the one pushing Wimmer. And of course, he has to try and push Wimmer to try and create some space so he can do his job. But I think it's fair to say that Wimmer did nothing wrong in that moment, and it's a fair goal that has stood for the Wolves, as Grabara almost got caught out by the bounce of the ball there. Kaminsky finding Wimmer, the goal scorer. Oh, put his head in a dangerous area there, Patrick Wimmer, and gets caught by van der Braake. He's not making himself any friends here in Koblenz, is he, Patrick Wimmer? But, I mean, there is absolutely nothing to debate in that decision. Van der Braake can wave his hands all he wants, but he literally kicked Wimmer in the head. And if that's not a foul, then I don't know what is in the world of football. Salah under no pressure this time. Free kick whipped in. Looked like Wimmer might just have caught Dylan Esmail there. Esmail went to ground, I think, due to a slip. And he's trying to stand up as Wimmer caught him. I don't think there was anything untoward in it. But for some reason, Patrick Wimmer just seems to be the man in the spotlight right now. Wolfsburg didn't produce the best of form during pre-season, but Wimmer caught the eye in their final friendly against Brentford, a 4-4 draw. Scored 2 goals. And set up another. Hasenhüttl was not happy with the result, but was happy with the character shown in coming from behind on multiple occasions in that game. Wolfsburg in their 49th season in this competition, as mentioned. Winners in 2015 to go along with another final appearance that they lost to Borussia Mönchengladbach in 1995. 6 times they've reached the semi-finals, but not since that cup run that took them all the way to glory under Dieter Hecking. When it comes to their first round output recently, historically they've been knocked out 16 times, in the first round, but just once in the last 12 seasons. I'll hold the thought as Kaminski threatens again and doesn't get the corner on this occasion. But of course, that only first round exit for Wolfsburg in the last 12 seasons was one of those very bizarre moments in German football. In the 2021-22 campaign, Wolfsburg travelled to Preußen Münster and they picked up a 3-1 win, but they were denied the victory because Mark van Bommel made 1 substitution too many as the Wolfsburg head coach, and as a result the result was rescinded. Preußen Münster booked their ticket to the second round of Germany's Soul Cup competition, and Wolfsburg were left with egg on their face, feeling mightily embarrassed, and it wasn't long after that that Mark van Bommel ended exiting the club. One of those things that only happens once, though, I think. And it was because that tie went to extra time and he made an extra substitution in extra time, thinking he got an extra one, but made 6 substitutes, and that's 1 too many. Tietziger finding Meyer! Barker arriving. That was half shot, half cross from Lovro Meyer, but this all happened in the blink of an eye for Wolfsburg. I think he knew the angle was against him for the shot, so really was trying to pick out a teammate there. Wonderfully gifted player, Lovro Meyer, the Croatian. Koblenz, this is only their 3rd appearance in the DFB Pokal since 2010. The 2010-11 campaign, they made it to the round of 16. Something that was a real feat for the club because it was back-to-back seasons they made it to that stage of the competition. Lost against Hoffenheim in 2010. In 2011, they lost against Kaiserslautern. Their most recent appearance was in the 2017-18 campaign when they lost 3-2 to Dynamo Dresden in the first round. And as mentioned, Daniel van der Braake, the captain, the only surviving player from that tie, still featuring in the starting lineup today. Michael Stahl, the head coach, would too, but he's now not a player, just a coach. He was operating as player coach until this season, but wanted to focus on the coaching role specifically. And he can't be too displeased with what he's seen from his side so far. 23 minutes played. They're 1-0 down against Wolfsburg, yes, but They've had chances at one end, and ultimately they haven't defended poorly, but one set piece has proved their undoing so far. One of the 4 sides hailing from the 5th tier of German football. The others, Schott Mainz, who suffered a 2-0 loss to Greuther Fürth, VfR Aalen, who suffered a 2-0 loss to Schalke, and yesterday Hildesheim on the end of a 7-0 thrashing against Elversberg. But the difference there is that all of those teams hailing from Bundesliga 2, this is the first time a 5th tier side in the first round has taken on a Bundesliga outfit, and right now Dylan Esmel has drawn a foul from Sebastian Bornau, who is the first Wolfsburg player in the referee's book. Good old wrestling match between the 2 players there, and got to say Esmel did well. Got wrong side of his man, held off the challenge, drew the foul, and Sebastian Bornau might not be happy with the yellow card, but ultimately was running the risk by dragging Esmel to ground in the tangle. Play to the back post, and while Teziger does really well there to play it off of Leon Hiesenay. One off the training ground, clearly from Koblenz, given the fact that Yasin Yaman was in a clearly offside position. Well, look at the early statistics, and yes, there's a discrepancy when it comes to the amount of possession both of these teams have had, but Koblenz would have been well prepared for the fact that Wolfsburg were going to have more of the ball. The fact that they have almost matched the Wolves in terms of the attacking output is something not to be taken for granted for TuS Koblenz. It was after their last game a 1-0 loss against Engers here at the Stadion Oberwert. Koblenz head coach Michael Stahl talking about the fact that his side are in a phase of their development where they are lacking the final pass against deep-lying opponents. Well, there's nothing deep-lying about Wolfsburg here today, but that final pass is still lacking. Well, that sounded nasty. The inquest can go on, and again, Blagojevich just needs to watch his words here, because they cannot argue against every decision. And I mean, again, Blagojevich there did trip Matthias Svanberg. There he is, the Koblenz head coach Michael Stahl, scorer of the 2010 Goal of the Year in Germany, for a stunning effort from inside his own half. Half clearance, half shot, but it found the back of the net in one of Koblenz's most famous cup wins against Hertha Berlin. It's a lovely free kick and put right into the danger area, but Yaman with the header clear. Wolfsburg will keep their lines advanced though here. Baku, Bornau, Lacroix have still stayed up, as Lacroix couldn't quite squeeze the pass out there. Bounce didn't favour Teziger, but he just maintained the overview there. Yeah, but Hiesenay stayed touch tight to him the whole time. Round the corner for Maya. Had to go first time with the cross. As a result, didn't quite have the control he wanted on the delivery. Maya Again, bent back post. Wimmer trying to get there with his head. This time, couldn't turn it on target. Had a tough time last season, Patrick Wimmer, when it came to injury issues, a knee problem in particular. Limited to him to just 15 appearances in all competitions, 2 goals scored against Augsburg and Darmstadt, but he was part of the Austrian national team who really caught the eye at Euro 2024. Unfortunately for him, he was suspended for that round of 16 loss against Turkey that ended what was brewing as a very exciting campaign for Austria. Baku, chance to deliver, and this time the goalkeeper does get the benefit of the referee's whistle. It was a 50-50. Meyer holds his hands up in apology, but he had every right to try and get on the end of that low cross from Riedler Baku. Goalkeepers, part of their job is to put their bodies where it hurts. Admittedly, Zadach did not look convincing in trying to claim the cross. I'll tell you, it would have just been fitting with the early narrative of this game if Patrick Wimmer was the one to profit from another Zadach mistake. Certainly nothing untoward, though, from Lovro Meyer. Says the best version of himself is when he's enjoying his football, and with Wolfsburg he certainly seems to be. 5 goals in 34 appearances in his debut campaign. Born out on a yellow card, so has to be careful, but got the challenge right on that occasion. Unfortunately, Demir Grgic does not get the header back to his goalkeeper right. Those are the types of moments that Koblenz want to avoid, putting more pressure on themselves than necessary, because they're going to face a fair bit of it from this Wolfsburg team. Again, Wimmer on the toes of Michael Zadach. Will the idea be the same? It is indeed, right there, and Zadach does really well, actually, to command his area. Now Esmail will give chase up against Gerhardt. All the way back to Grabara it goes, who finds the outlet pass to Riedler Baku. Straight down the other end, the ball goes for Wolfsburg. Wimmer didn't have the beating of his marker, but may have left his mark on Karim Zegli, and as a result, Koblenz putting the ball out of play. So their left back, or excuse me, it's Lukas Puchscherer. At the landing on the calf from Patrick Wimmer. Well, Koblenz had the first 3 shots of this game inside the first 9 minutes of the match. Since then, Wolfsburg have established a real control on proceedings. Over 65% possession. But these fans are going to make themselves heard all evening. Right now, basking in the early evening sunshine here at the Stadion Oberwert. Capacity of just over 9,000, almost sold out today. Something that hasn't happened since this team were last in the DFB Pokal back in 2017. But they have gone through thick and thin with this club. Koblenz, a side that yo-yo between the 4th and 5th tier of German football, where they currently reside, after picking up just 4 wins, 6 draws and 24 losses last season, to suffer relegation from the Regionalliga, the 4th tier of German football. Isenai losing out against Teziger. Ball still not settled. Teziger finds Wind, and who's going to win that second ball? It's Koblenz that come away with it. Oh, 50-50. Wolfsburg spring clear, and now the sting taken out of the situation by Koblenz. Zadach might have been wiser there to take a few touches just to let his teammates reorganize themselves. Right now, bodies just keep hitting the floor. Very physical, combative cup tie. Calls for the ball to go left. Lacroix hears and heeds them. Kaminski certainly favours that right foot. It makes him a little bit predictable at times. Still, he's having a fair bit of joy. Teziger couldn't quite find that neat pass needed. Final touch there was off of Lofro-Meyer, so it's Koblenz with the throw. Keep it simple, guys, come on. Not the call from Michael Stahl. I don't think he has much English in his locker, the 36-year-old. Man who made 331 appearances, scoring 45 goals, including that famous cup goal against Hertha Berlin. Now, if you haven't ever seen it, and you could be forgiven for it not having popped up on your radar, but it's well worth a look. Because it was quite a famous goal. He wasn't necessarily going for goal, he really was just trying to win the ball in midfield. He just put his foot through it and goalkeeper caught off his line. It was Patrick Wimmer, though, that caught Michael Zadach out. His first ever goal in the DFB Pokal. What separates these two sides? He had a tough start to this game where he gave the ball away really cheaply a couple of times, but he has made the difference and now seems to be growing into this game, much like his Wolfsburg side. Baku with the cross, not dealt with initially, but the clearance produced in the end. And the hope is that Patrick Wimmer can have a much bigger part to play, because there's no doubting he's a talented player. We saw that when he was on the books with Arminia Bielefeld, and while injuries have blighted his Wolfsburg career, technically gifted, there is no doubt. Once produced an assist courtesy of Rabona against Eintracht Frankfurt, wrapping one leg behind the other to chip the ball into the path of a teammate. Fun fact about Patrick Wimmer: he was a champion weightlifter in his youth, and admits that there's not much from one sport that transfers to football, but the fact is he certainly knows how to keep a good frame, keep some muscles on his body. He's no Adama Traore or anything like that. But it's not often you find a footballer with a weightlifting past. It was a hopeful, more than purposeful ball forward from Koblenz. Oh, what a touch that was from Meyer, though. Glorious from the Croatian. Baku, space to operate in, and really, given the time and space, had to pick a better pass there. The intention was very easy to telegraph. And that is one thing you can say about this performance in Wolfsburg. They're not doing enough to really move this Koblenz backline. They're sitting in a bank of 4 behind, or in front of a bank of 5. Now Teziger might just fancy a shot from range, given how limited chances have been, but in the end runs himself into trouble in the congested area. But the onus is on Wolfsburg to make something happen. And they're not really showing their attacking quality. We saw a moment of quality here from Meyer. I mean, whew, what I would give to be able to pull things like that off on a football pitch. I think Patrick Wimmer came close to a second goal there, closing down Michael Zadach. And the clearance, fortunately for Koblenz, the big deflection off the Austrian international took it behind for another goal kick, and this time they don't take any chances, trying to play their way out from the back as Melchizedek Yeboah is fouled. have to say, poor old Leon. He's going to have a tough time winning headers against Cedric Thackeray, who absolutely towers over him. Dylan Esmail goes to ground, clutching his face, but he lost the challenge there, didn't he? Dylan Esmail wasn't strong enough. Thackeray had the positioning on him, and he was looking for any rub of the green there from the referee and just wasn't going to get any of it. And there's one of the problems. I mean, Koblenz, as a fifth-tier side, Michael Stahl will have known that they needed something special, and he did think that the atmosphere and occasion could combine to create something special tonight. But you think of the basics that Koblenz need if they want to stand any chance of causing an upset, and one of those basics really is winning their fair share of challenges, and right now they're winning just 32% of the challenges in this game. That isn't good enough. But let us not underestimate how much of a step up this is for so many of these players that have probably never come up against Bundesliga opposition. Of course, a reminder, Dylan Esmail and centre-back Daniel van der Braake are the only two players that have ever featured in the DFB Pokal before tonight, both with just one appearance to their name. Esmail making his appearance with Raut Weiss Koblenz, as Yeboah trying to get in behind the first touch. He thought about sprinting, then doubted himself, then thought about sprinting again, and in the end getting caught in two minds. Saw the chance dissipate. Koblenz qualifying for the DFB Pokal this season after winning the Rhineland Landespokal, beating SG Schneifel in the final. But they have been knocked out 7 times in the first round in 12 previous seasons. Haven't reached the second round since 2010. Back then they beat Fortuna Düsseldorf in the first round, beat Hertha Berlin in the second when head coach Michael Stahl scored that famous goal, and then fell short against Kaiserslautern in the round of 16. Yannick Gerhardt. Deflected cross. Up to the danger stakes there, but Koblenz deal well with it. You can see here, this is a charming old ground. The Stadion Oberwert, opened in 1935, but it doesn't have a lot of cover from the sun, and right now, with it dipping, it's at an awkward angle as Svanberg with the fierce effort from range that just didn't dip enough. Admittedly, Michael Zadach might have expected to have a busier evening of it here in the first half, but he hasn't had to make that many saves. And that shot from Svanberg was the first shot we've had in this game since the 22nd minute. It's almost 20 minutes without an effort on goal. And in many ways, Wolfsburg are just managing the game because they realise that there is a distinct gulf in quality here. And right now they are having this game go their own way. But we've seen stranger things happen in the cup, and a 1-0 lead is certainly not secure. Cheap foul to give away by Dylan Esmail, who is on a yellow card, and he's still getting frustrated with every decision that goes against him. Has to be very, very careful, the Koblenz striker, because the last thing they want, and the last thing he wants, is to ruin this pretty special occasion for him by getting sent off. And right now, Koblenz, you can see, they're willing to give Wolfsburg a fair bit of time and space on the ball, a good 35 yards out from goal, but once they cross that 30-yard mark, it's touch tight as much as they can. Barker trying to work the channels. He's done well to get beyond there. They want a corner, but they're not going to get it, Wolfsburg. fun fact for you, in their last 4 DFB Pokal outings, Koblenz had always taken the lead in those games. Not the case today, as you hear Sebastian Bornau there calling for more intensity. Wants this thrown to go forward as well from Kaminski, and it does. Jonas Vind, though, you have to say, has been a non-factor in this first half. 1 minute of time added on at the end of this first half, and Koblenz are going to have a chance to put the ball in the Wolfsburg box. They had the first 3 shots of the game inside the first 9 minutes, but we haven't seen anything from them in terms of an attacking output since. Maybe there's one last chance in this first half for them to force Kamil Grabara into a save. So far, his first outing as a Wolfsburg player in a competitive game is proving quite a comfortable day at the office. Thackeray with the delivery. Wasn't a bad one. Esmail wasn't far away from it. He was just beaten to the ball by Grabara. Kaminski not about to go through the gears right at the end of this first half. Wolfsburg happy with the 1-0 lead. Wimmer looked to turn provider. Gerhardt picks up the pieces. Maybe there is one last chance in this first half. Lovren Meyer going the wrong way, though. Referee saw that and felt that was enough for the first half. Wolfsburg kicking off their season, looking for a winning start. Not at their best so far here today. Up against 5th tier Koblenz, Patrick Wimmer's header is what separates the sides, but clear-cut chances have been few and far between. Wolfsburg will not be satisfied with just a 1-0 win as they look to book their ticket to the second round of Germany's Seoul Cup competition. But at the break, it's Koblenz 0, Wolfsburg 1. Well, a positive start to the season for the Wolves. But they will be looking to add to the scoreline in the second half against a Koblenz side that have struggled to muster up much attacking threat, especially since the opening 9 minutes of the game. In many departments, Wolfsburg's quality has been on show, but up front they haven't exactly put Koblenz to the sword. We had a good 20-minute spell in that first half where we didn't have a single shot on goal. And as a result, for Wolfsburg, it's been a largely frustrating first half in the final third. You can see for an occasion like this at the Stadion Oberwert, everyone wants to try and get a seat every way possible. At last count, there were 7,000 tickets sold, but I think we might be very close to a capacity crowd here as we revisit the highlights of this first half. And it started so promisingly for Michael Stahl and his team. A cup hero in his own right with a special connection to this competition. And it was this moment for Blagojevic forcing a pretty important tackle out of Riedler Baku. Had that shot gone on target and maybe beaten Grabara, it could have been a very different game. But this is the moment that separates the sides. Patrick Wimmer right on the toes of goalkeeper Michael Zadach. Zadach wanted the referee's decision to go his way, but the referee felt there was nothing unfair in the contest, and the replay suggested he was right in that assessment. Wimmer just happened to be right place, right time. Good leap, got his head to the ball ahead of the fist of the Koblenz goalkeeper. But other than that, chances few and far between, and it means that at the break it's Koblenz 0, Wolfsburg 1. Hopefully more action to come in the second half.
This cup fight is one of the most exciting I've ever seen.
A Bundesliga giant beaten by a non-league side.
It's the round where the unexpected can really happen.
As they say, the cup makes its own rules.
When Bundesliga heavyweights Hamburg paid a visit to the idyllic surroundings of Geislingen, the whole village turned out to see them. The 1983 European Cup winners were at full strength. But it was the third-tier side who took the lead, thanks to Wolfgang Haug's sensational opener. The favourites were on the ropes, and Klaus Perfetto delivered the knockout blow in the second half. A Bundesliga giant beaten by a non-league side on a day they'll never forget in Geisling.
90 minutes, no goals between fourth-tier Rot-Weiß Essen and Bayern 04 Leverkusen. Bailey! Oh, he's got it! In the dying seconds of the first half of extra time. Rot-Weiß Essen throwing everything forward now. Kefke scores! Rot-Weiß Essen, after 108 minutes, are back in the game. 3 minutes to go. 117 have been played. This is Engelmann! It's Engelmann! Simon Engelmann! Quarter-final for Rot-Weiß Essen, and this is why we love football!
While the record champions were busy signing autographs, their non-league opponents were the tactics board. It was the game of the century for FV Weinheim. The mighty Bayern were in town, with 5 freshly crowned world champions in their lineup. But third-tier Weinheim could sense DFB Pokal history in the making. In the 28th minute, Thomas Schweigheimer, a carpenter by trade, hammered home from the spot. The overwhelming underdogs were in the lead. An emotional dressing room talk and a second-half performance full of guts and grit saw them over the line. Party time in provincial Weinheim as the non-league minnows celebrated one of the all-time cup shocks.
Third Division Osnabrück take on the big boys from Hamburg and the Bremer Brücke Stadium in front of a sellout crowd. Osnabrück down to 10 men as early as the 18th minute. There's Halil Savran. The underdogs take the lead completely against the run of play. Clever feet by Konstantin Engel. He finds Ahmed Arslan. 2-0. Osnabrück, a man down, but 2 goals up. There's Arslan. 3-0. This is incredible. Bobby Wood sends the keeper the wrong way. It's too little, too late. Osnabrück go into DFB Pokal immortality, knocking out the big boys from the Bundesliga. And the amazing thing is, they've done it with 10 men.
Eintracht Trier had a taste for giant killing in the 1997-98 season. After seeing off Unterhaching and Schalke, it was time for the Champions League holders to rock up at the Moselstadion. Everyone wanted a glimpse of Borussia Dortmund. Even global stars like Paulo Sousa, Andreas Müller and Jürgen Kohler had to admire Trier's opener. The regional league outfit showing it had world-class capabilities too. It was the same story in the second half as Trier doubled their lead. Jürgen Kohler did reduce the arrears later, but no more than that. A third-tier outfit knocking out the Champions League winners. A story only the DFB Pokal can write.
The whole region of Ulm looking forward to the visit of Eintracht Frankfurt, the cup holders. Ulm still very much in this game. They've got a free kick. Marina gets his head to it. Stefan Kienler, 1-0 to Ulm. Ulm under pressure, but they've shown resolve, they've shown spirit, they've shown resilience. Campagna gets it away, they can break now. Vitali looks on the run. Salcedo's struggling. Look stays on his feet and makes it 2-0. The Donau Stadium going absolutely wild. Gonzalo Pacienza. He gives Eintracht a few crumbs of hope. SSV Ulm reached the second round of the DFB Cup for the first time in 17 years. It's an afternoon they'll never forget. It's the first time in 22 years that the cup holders go out in the first round.
For tiny Sandhausen, it was a huge draw. The provincial side played host to big city Stuttgart, who had big names on board. Jogi Löw, the assistant coach, and their famous magic triangle up front, Bobic, Elba and Balakov, the man who grabbed the opener. That was cancelled out by Matthias Bernhardt, before Bobic restored the lead at the break. But with just 3 minutes to go, Slaviša Staletovic nodded home the next equaliser. 2-2 the final score. And after a goalless extra time, the match went to an extraordinary penalty shootout. Everyone scored 25 successful spot kicks in a row, a DFB Pokal record. Then Hendrik Herzog stepped up and hit the post. There was no holding back. Third-tier Sandhausen were through after an epic shootout drama and rewriting the DFB Pokal history books.
FC Saarbrücken, a fourth-tier club, faced Germany's Bundesliga team Fortuna Düsseldorf in the quarter-final of the DFB Cup. First over the pass to Janica! 1-0! Saarbrücken take the lead! It's the final minute. We're already into 90. Corner Sturger, and the goalkeeper's there too! Kastenmeier with a header onto the head of Zanka! An equaliser so late on. No more scored in extra time. It's a penalty shootout. If it goes in, Düsseldorf are through to the semi-finals of the DFB Pokal. They're not! They're not! And now it's up to Müller. Can he score? The answer is yes! And they're in the lead! If he misses, Saarbrücken are through. And it's been saved! Never before have a team from the fourth tier reach a semi-final in the DFB Pokal.
Overload, so one player is out and the other one gets second.
Hello and welcome back everyone to the Stadion Oberwert in Koblenz, one of the more picturesque regions that Germany has to offer. And right now, TuS Koblenz 1-0 down against Bundesliga side Wolfsburg in the biggest mismatch that we have in the first round of the DFB Pokal this season. However, you can tell that Ralf Hasenhüttl is not happy with just the 1-goal narrow lead as he makes 2 changes at half-time. Kilian Fischer has come on to replace Maxence Lacroix, while Jonas Wind, who was a complete non-factor in the first half, makes way for Thiago Tomas. So a surprise, or 2 surprising decisions there from Hasenhüttl. Wind, fair enough. Lacroix was our captain at the start of play. Now it's Yannick Gerhardt with the armband. I just wonder whether this suggests that they might change the system a little bit, Wolfsburg as well, and maybe go more attacking even than the 3-4-3 formation, but maybe it's a 4-man back line with more attacking numbers going forward. Let's see how it shapes up. Might just mean that Riedle Baku is even more advanced down this right wing with Kilian Fischer in behind him. Fischer is a right back by trade, so let's wait and see what effect these changes have on this Wolfsburg side. They'll be hoping at the very least produces a few more goals. Well, the action back underway at the Stadion Oberwert. TuS Koblenz of the 5th tier of German football, taking on Bundesliga counterparts in the form of 2015 DFB Pokal winners VfL Wolfsburg. 2 changes made at the break for the visitors as Ralf Hasenhüttl reacts to what was quite a turgid first half performance. Kilian Fischer coming on for Maxence Lacroix. Meanwhile, Thiago Tomas has replaced Jonas Wind in the lone striker role. Hasenhüttl, the Wolfsburg head coach, describing this encounter as a typical round 1 tie. He called for his side to play to their strengths. Called for them to inject pace into the final third, and that was something they didn't manage to do too often, given how deep-lying Koblenz were. Baku looking for the first chance of the second half, but in the end couldn't quite pull off the flick that he was looking for. Koblenz made such a strong start to the first half, but struggled to muster up much danger going forward after the opening 10 minutes. As a result, the pressure built and built. Wolfsburg just didn't really cover themselves in glory. You almost get the impression they feel like they've worked out they don't need to get out of 2nd or 3rd gear today. And as a result, they're not going to, but these are the games where they need to. They need to prove that they can be at their best even when they don't need to be. Thiago Tomas will be hoping to get a little bit more purchase in proceedings. Last season in the first round of the DFB Pokal against Maccabi, he scored 2 goals and provided a further 2 assists in a 6-0 win. So I'm sure that might have been one of the reasons why Ralf Hasenhüttl called upon his services. Unfortunately for Tomas, after scoring twice in the opening round of the Cup, he only scored 1 more goal in the entire campaign for Wolfsburg. Wasn't often in the starting lineup, admittedly, but just 3 goals in 29 appearances in his first season with the club since joining from Sporting in Portugal. Now there a chance for Koblenz, but Zediger deals with the situation well, but forced into giving Koblenz a rare corner here. Something for the home fans to cheer about that have been in fine voice all evening, even if they haven't had a lot to get excited about. From set pieces, anything is possible. Needs a good delivery and it didn't get it though. Oh, you gotta love the first round of the DFB Pokal. Damir Gergic just chancing his arm, hoping for the best, and a centre-back's effort in the end that flew well off target. But if I'm not mistaken, that might actually be Koblenz's first shot of this game since the 9th minute. Now a chance for Wolfsburg, Wimmer again. Rising highest there inside the Koblenz box to try and turn a header on target, but unlike the goal he scored earlier, unable to do so. Had to be a glancing header. He was involved in many of the most contentious moments of the first half, Patrick Wimmer. Determined to close down Michael Zadach, the Koblenz goalkeeper, at every opportunity, because Koblenz and Michael Stahl's side keep trying to play their way out from the back. Not too much great effect it has, to be said. If anything, they just keep playing themselves into a bit more pressure. I see moments like that. Leon Hiesenai has to bring the ball under his spell and at least spend a couple of seconds in possession. And I think you could hear someone was shouting at Leon, probably to tell him exactly that he didn't need to be swiping at it and just trying to play the first time ball. That was a moment where they need a little bit of hold-up for support to arrive, for more numbers to get forward. Not that they're going to overcommit here, Koblenz. And they're trying to deal with the threat of Wimmer on the goal line by putting a defender in the mix as well. It's Karim Zegli who's trying to do the dance. And Zadach, not for the first time today, does remarkably well to get his fist on that corner. Coming through so many bodies, not just those in neon green, but in dark blue too. Thiago Tomasz. Thiago Tomasz thought he'd broken the offside trap. That would have been a golden opportunity for Wolfsburg to make it 2-0. Has the pace clearly to beat these Koblenz defenders, but did mistime his run just one step too far. Much like Teziger a few minutes ago, forced into conceding a corner. Can they produce a better set piece this time around, the home team? Plenty of movement in the box, but Gabara gets there first. And again, well, if the first time it was wasteful, the second time it certainly was. This time it's Leon He's an eye. I mean, I get it, when you're a fifth-tier side and that shot of adrenaline when the ball's bouncing out to you and you think it might just sit up perfectly and you might just be able to put your laces through it. But that rush of blood to the head, sometimes you need to still show discipline in those moments. And when Koblenz had everyone forward like that, He's an eye really needs to have the presence of mind and the composure to hold on to possession and try to get the ball back into the mix to create a second chance of much better quality than a rushed shot from about 40 yards out. Wimmer, half chance, and still right now Michael Zadach has conceded with the only shot on goal that Wolfsburg have produced, thanks to Patrick Wimmer's header in the 15th minute of this game. A rare header as well. Scored 9 goals in the Bundesliga, none of them have been with his head. Tonight he scored his first ever goal in the DFB Pokal. Nice touch from Wimmer to find Tomasz. Moves it on to Meyer. Kilian Fischer's on the move. Baku tried to feed the run. And while it is worth noting that Wolfsburg so far not at their best, nowhere near the peak of their performance levels, but then always difficult to be after a pre-season. Can't be so quick to find your rhythm. But we should also, in the context of that discussion, point out that they are missing several first-team regulars with injury. Captain Maximilian Arnold out with a virus. Kevin Behrens with a thigh injury. Rogerio working his way back from a knee operation. Joachim Mähler, it's an ankle injury. Bartosz Bialek has torn ligaments in his knee. Astor Franks, who featured in Euro 2024 with Belgium, came back with an adductor injury. Lucas Metzger still working on what has been a long road to recovery for the Wolfsburg striker, right now dealing with a muscle injury, and as a result, Hasenhüttl doesn't have a full squad to choose from. Nevertheless, you look at the starting line that the Wolfsburg puts out, and it's a side capable of finishing in the top half of the Bundesliga. Right now, though, Yeboah loses out against Kaminski. The home fans want a free kick, they're not going to get it. Wolfsburg will put the ball out so that Yeboah can receive treatment if needs be. Initially, he had a yard on Jakub Kaminski, but Kaminski had the pace to recover. And it's one of those, it's a nasty one. It looks like he's overextended the knee a little bit, just getting his studs caught in the turf. I mean, Kaminski didn't exactly trip him. Indeed, it does look like that left boot just gets caught in the grass. As a result, the whole leg just jars and hyperextends. Such a tough moment for Koblenz, because yes, that had so much promise. If he could have stayed one-on-one with Kaminski, maybe taken him on, maybe got into the box and had a shot, we might have been talking about a wonderful moment for Melchizedek Yeboah, but it just wasn't to be. That's the moment where you see the lack of quality, and you realise that just Koblenz are a fifth-tier side hailing from the Oberliga Rheinland-Pfalz-Saar. And while there might not be a golf in class on the scoreline, there certainly is in terms of this performance. Wolfsburg, again, not at their best, but they're having more of the ball, they're posing the greater threat, they're creating more chances, they're limiting Koblenz in terms of their attacking output. And now looking for a second, Baku teaser. Kaminski, who leant back, got up and under that ball, didn't he? Provided the assist for Patrick Wimmer's header, but not very proficient with the shot himself there, Jakub Kaminski, the Polish international. Wimmer tracks back well there. Well-timed challenge as well. Such a workhorse, Patrick Wimmer. Yes, his attacking output is often what catches the eye, but make no mistake, this is a lad who comes from a farming background in the Austrian sticks. Says his family keep him very well grounded, but he is willing to put in the hard yards as much as he wants to produce the flair moments up front and score the goals, provide the assists. He will happily get involved in the defensive duties as well. They're trying to stretch the play, Wolfsburg. They're trying to shift Koblenz left and right with those switches of the play. And then they look to play the numbers game when they pick their side. And right now they're trying to do it down this right wing. It's Meyer, Kilian Fischer and Baku trying to combine with Gerhardt in tally as well. Floated in, Tomasz knocks it down to Wimmer! Slices wide just before the hour mark. But when it comes to Wolfsburg's most promising moments, you cannot escape the fact that Patrick Wimmer is involved in all of them. Kaminski doubled up on what a pass that was. It was just a second or two too late. Gerhard had made a wonderful run. Of course, tonight's games, it's worth pointing out, don't end the DFB Pokal first round because we've still got two games involving Stuttgart and Leverkusen, who were in action in the DFL Super Cup on Saturday evening. As a result, their first round ties postponed. Stuttgart take on Preußen Münster on the 27th of August. Meanwhile, the 28th of August, it's Karl Zeiss Jena against Leverkusen, the current title holders. Got off to a winning start in the Super Cup, albeit via a penalty shootout against Stuttgart. 2-2 draw, a tie played like it was a title decider in April. What a wonderful advert for German football. Kaminski with another corner. And this time Wimmer was nowhere near Zadach to put him off, so Zadach has found the way to find a bit of freedom in the box. And now, lovely run made by Lucas Thackeray, but the pass a little over-ambitious from his goalkeeper. Wimmer holds off the challenge and rides another. He's only got one in support from Kilian Fischer. But the message there from the referee was you got everything but the ball to Karim Zegli, suggesting that he is going to award the free kick here for Wolfsburg as opposed to the throw-in. I think he was just trying to marshal it out of play. I think a free kick has been given. Wimmer has won 67% of his challenges so far, and he's had the most challenges of any player on the pitch with 19 now. He's won over 70% of them. One of them, this foul one, as Lovro Meyer will have a chance to try and fashion a second goal for Wolfsburg. Oh, Van der Braake there with a wonderful header, the Koblenz captain. In terms of defensive discipline, I mean, you've got to tip your hat to Koblenz. They really have limited Wolfsburg in terms of clear-cut chances. Yes, Wolfsburg have had more shots on goal, but they have not been of particularly high quality, it has to be said. say, you're looking at a performance like this from the Wolves, and it doesn't exactly lend itself to the thought that they're going to be a strong competitor in the Bundesliga this season. I mean, last season was one to forget. Finishing in the bottom half of the table. A big step back in all departments. Niko Kovac let go after a downward spiral in March. And this was after they started the season so strongly. The way they started the season, Wolfsburg, suggested they could compete for European qualification. The way they the way they ended the season was more like a relegation candidate. So Hasenhüttl, the hope is that he can turn the tide back in Wolfsburg's favour as they look to re-establish themselves. 4 wins, 4 losses in his 8 games in charge at the end of last season. Ralf Hasenhüttl. Kaminski. Wanted to go for goal himself, but again it's a half chance at best for Wolfsburg, as they really are not finding the solutions he needed to the questions being posed by this Koblenz backline. Wimmer. The touch was a little heavy. Van der Braake quickly out to make the challenge, but again Wolfsburg keeping themselves on the front foot. Here is Svanberg. Had a shot from range in the first half that flew off target. Same result here, but courtesy of a deflection. So Wolfsburg with the corner. Off the post! Well, was that the ball or a player? I think it might have just been a touch from Michael Zadach, the Koblenz goalkeeper, that might have just touched the post, but it was a dangerous delivery towards that near post area. Koblenz coping well on that occasion, but certainly a facet of these corners from Wolfsburg in the first half, where they were really looking to put the delivery almost on the goal line. And you can see Wimmer once again, this has been his job all afternoon from corners. Get in the mix, make life a nuisance for Michael Zadach, the Koblenz goalkeeper. Try and just get in his way, try and impede him in any way possible, and then try and put that ball right in that 6-yard box. Kaminski almost scored directly from the corner, but it was glanced home by Wimmer. And Meyer's trying to do the same thing from this near side, this time flicked on by a Koblenz head out for a Wolfsburg throw. Koblenz need to stay sharp here. Wolfsburg not taking a quick throw though. Now being manhandled. Oh, and then Meyer, that was a terrible first touch from the Croatian. Leon Hiesenay, the young 19-year-old summer signing from Swiss side Schaffhausen, has been involved in a couple of moments but didn't really make the best of them. Meanwhile, And Kizadek Yaboa also making way. Marco Müller coming on, so too Dominik Kaiser. Former Elversberg Academy graduate Dominik Kaiser, 23 years old, making his DFB Pokal debut, as are so many of these Koblenz players. Dylan Esmel still not happy with the fact that the decisions keep going against him. It's one of the interesting things about the substitutes there from Michael Stahl is that he hasn't taken off Zegli or Esmel, who are both on yellow cards. When you talk about danger men, Dylan Esmel certainly one of them. That's why he will be reticent to take off his striker, the former Dortmund, Bochum, Stuttgart youth player. Made a bit of a mini breakthrough with Kaiserslautern back in the day. 32 goals in 75 appearances for Koblenz. He just hasn't had any chances to talk of tonight.
Normaler Kontakt.
20 minutes of normal time remaining here at the Stadion Oberwert. Still Wolfsburg, much like they were in the first half after that goal from Patrick Wimmer. Just not getting out of second or third gear. And in many ways they don't need to, but the DFB Pokal is a competition that, as they say, writes its own rules, and Koblenz need just one chance and they might get it here. Esmel chasing down Zeziger. Dylan Esmel, he's all on his own, waits for support, it arrives! But Marcel Wingender fails to find the target. Oh, but a sign of life here from Koblenz. Maybe this is something they can work with. Esmel has been full of running all evening. Made life difficult for Zeziger. Held up the play well, and the tee off Wingender was good as well. Just needed, had to test Grabara. Because as you can see by the match statistics, they're having less of the ball, they're having less of the chances. That clinical touch, so key if Michael Stahl's side want to cause the ultimate upset and become only the second team ever from the 5th tier of German football to knock out a Bundesliga counterpart in the DFB Pokal. The only other side that have ever achieved that feat, SSV Ulm, and they beat Nuremberg in the 2001-2002 campaign, courtesy of a 2-1 first round win. Fischer rides 2 challenges, and there's a lovely run being made by Tomasz. He's got the pace. Von der Brake trying to stay tight. Tomasz just willing to hold up the play and tries to draw the foul. But I like that decision from referee Sören Storks to not blow up there, because Tomasz was looking for it. And still, I mean, right now, Michael Zadach can go home and say, well, I only conceded 1 goal from the only shot on target, but that will probably rankle with him. The fact that he couldn't make the 1 save needed to, that could have kept this tie even more tense than it is right now, because there is still tension in the air at 1-0 up for Wolfsburg. The problem is, we've seen such little attacking output from Koblenz. Hopes of an equaliser aren't exactly in large supply. But this might be the chance they look back on for Wingender. I mean, Bornau, you have to say, does well just to throw his body in front of the ball and act as a distraction. But those are the moments Koblenz needed to make count. Bornau again wrestling with Esmel. Off the ball, there's a tangle with Kaiser and Svanberg. Well, we're hearing we've got a crowd of 9,474 in attendance tonight at the Stadion Oberwert. Capacity of 9,500, but as you can tell, with people sitting on roofs and fences, there might just be an extra couple of people unofficially taking in this match, which is not run its course just yet. Into the Wolfsburg box goes the ball, but headed clear. Still Esmail! And he had to take it first time, he had no other choice. Curls it well wide of the target. Yeah, now the intensity, the press, not quite what it was from Koblenz. There will be some tired legs. They are not used to performing at these levels for this long. And while Wolfsburg aren't exactly putting them to the sword, they are making them do a lot of work off the ball, chasing shadows for the most part, trying to win the ball back. The output is there. Vingender unable to win out in midfield. And once again Wolfsburg with everyone in neon green inside the Koblenz half. Love that, Michael Stahl seeing Lucas Thackeray commit the foul, but loving the endeavour, loving the work rate. And I'll go to one of his pre-match quotes, Michael Stahl, our host head coach tonight, where he said, "My wish is that the fans leave recognising that we've given everything to produce a passionate and courageous performance." Just under 15 minutes remain. I don't think the fans will be leaving thinking anything differently. I think his wish might be fulfilled, but right now at 1-0, it feels like there's still something on offer. Blagojevic brought down. Matthias Svanberg, second Wolfsburg player to pick up a booking, along with Sebastian Bornau. The Koblenz fans have been magnificent. Even if they're having to improvise the way they're taking in this game. Ooh, gets there and then gets caught by Yasin Yaman. Oh! Oh, that seems a little harsh. On first viewing at least. Yes, a yellow card. Yes, a 50-50. Wimmer did get the touch ahead. And yeah, I mean, Yaman, he pulls out there. Yes, I understand it's an outstretched leg and at first it looks like a studs-up challenge, but For me, he actually tries to pull out there, and yes, he's caught Wimmer. It's a yellow card, clear as day. I think a red is a little harsh on the 21-year-old. I don't know whether that's just because Koblenz are the underdogs, and in the context of this cup tie, you almost want them to still be in with a chance. It's a hard red card to argue against, but it just feels a little harsh. And what could have been quite a tense last 10 minutes might struggle now. It's not really studs up, he's just left a leg out there a little bit loose. Yeah, man, and I can understand why he feels so hard done by there. That's maybe a challenge that you get away with sometimes in the 5th tier, but maybe not in the DFB Pokal first round. Sören Storks, the referee, was very confident of his decision very quickly there. And I'm not sure, even if we had video assistant referee in effect, I'm not sure it would have been a clear and obvious error to be overturned. Wimmer's caught again. Another studs up challenge, this time Daniel van der Braake, the captain, this time on the ankle. Daniel van der Braake, who got married in the summer. But you have to say he's marshaled his backline really well. Yes, mistimed that challenge on Wimmer, but you could underline the fact that he's produced a captain's performance tonight. The former Bayer Leverkusen youth player who spent 9 years on the Leverkusen books. Never quite made it at the highest level, but he's been with TuS Koblenz since 2015. 256 appearances and counting. Daniel van der Braake. Oh, there's a man over! Oh, it had to be 2-0. Cedric Seziger with the best chance of the entire game, let alone this second half. Unmarked back post, has to hit the target. That should have been 2-0 Wolfsburg. That is a massive let-off for Koblenz. And now we're going to see the introduction of a Wolfsburg summer signing, Benz Dardai, brought in from Hertha Berlin, where he came through the academy ranks, making 9 appearances to the senior side in Bundesliga 2 last season. Of course, working under his father, Paul Dardai, who was head coach at Hertha Berlin, and someone who has a very special connection with that club, and so the Dardai name also has a close connection. But Benz Dardai has decided to try and play his trade with Wolfsburg, while brothers Marton and Palko are still on the books with the capital city side. He talked about wanting to go his own way, the young 18-year-old. And now he has a chance to do that with the Wolves. It's a yellow card for Blagojevic. He was not about to argue with the referee because it was quite cynical, but I think he was almost making the foul so that he could be brought off, because he looks like he's on his last legs, the Serbian striker. A man who had that glorious opportunity at the start of the first half, blocked by the man he just fouled, Riedler Baku. Bit of last-ditch defending from the Wolfsburg right wing back on that occasion. But really one of those moments in this game that Koblenz will look back on and think, what if he hadn't made the block? What if Blagojevic had got the strike through and maybe even found the bottom corner? Right now, Maya was shaping up for a shot. And in the end, I don't know what the idea was there behind that free kick move from Wolfsburg, but whatever the idea was, it was a bad one. Poorly executed. And I'm not even sure Patrick Wimmer was on the same wavelength there as his midfield partner. highlight one of the outstanding players this evening as quick drinks break for the Koblenz players, but it's Riedler Baku who has been magnificent down the right wing for Wolfsburg, creating a lot of threat, getting into some really promising positions. A lot of sprints as well. And the most shots of any player on the pitch, Riedler Baku. But admittedly, not a single one of them was a really good opportunity, and every single one of them was a half chance that really didn't force Michael Zadach, the Koblenz goalkeeper, into enough work tonight, Wolfsburg. I think that will be one of the things they point out after this game. Yes, in many ways they haven't had to get out of second or third gear, even first at times. And now the fact that Koblenz are a man down and a goal down plays into that fact as well, but it's the right result. It's not the type of performance that exactly sets a high bar for the 2024-25 campaign, though, for Ralf Hasenhüttl and his side. Koblenz are going to defend to the last. They've kept this a lot more respectable than Hildesheim did yesterday against Elversberg in a 7-0 win. Better results than Schott, Mainz and Aalen had against Kräuter Fürth and Schalke, both losing by 2-0. And there really is no substitute for experience for a fifth-tier side like Koblenz coming up against a Bundesliga team. It's whether they can take the lessons they've learned tonight to benefit their domestic campaign in the Oberliga Rheinland-Pfalz. It's quite a mouthful, it has to be said. Just the fifth tier of German football, but the fifth tier is broken up into regional divisions as well, so that's why the specification comes. Kilian Fischer just losing his feet. Teixeira trying to make something of it. So too Esmel looking for the nutmeg. Maybe would have been wiser trying to play it off the legs of Bornau and out for a corner, but that's the type of savvy that maybe you don't have as a fifth tier player. Here's Ben Stardijk. The call was for Bornau to keep running. I'm not sure he necessarily obliged. Ben Stardijk getting some nice early touches in midfield. Clearly someone that likes to have a strong connection with the ball. Early delivery, dangerous as well. Baku is there! Didn't quite get enough to beat Michael Zadach, who makes his first actual save of the game in the 87th minute of this DFB Pokal first round tie. Fortunately for him, Baku only got a stud and not more on that cross from Yannick Gerhardt. Esmel trying to make something happen. Dominic Kaiser just got crowded out. All of a sudden that sense of anticipation raised again in the Stadion Oberwert, though. What these fans would give for their side to have one last chance at an equaliser and a famous moment. For now, Riedler Baku, fresh from just missing that chance, is going to be replaced by Bennett Bröger, the young 18-year-old. Made his debut on the final day of last season in a loss to Mainz, coming off the bench for the final 10 minutes of that game. A youngster who joined Wolfsburg back in 2017 at the age of 11. Meyer, dangerous in letting the ball bounce, but then uses his body well to deal with that threat. Bröger's first touch sees him fail to pull a loose ball into his spell. Bornau and Esmel again going head-to-head. I mean, that has been a fascinating battle all evening. Oh, Kilian Fischer almost had his arm pulled out of his socket there by Teixeira. of the easier decisions for Sören Storks. That red card, though, that he dished out to Yasmin Yaman in the 78th minute will still be one of the talking points at the end of this game. Whether it really would have changed the result had he opted for yellow instead of red. It's a hard argument to make, given the lack of quality and composure that Koblenz have had in the final third, but this is where they can throw caution to the wind. They have absolutely nothing to lose. That is not enough for a free kick, though. A little push in the hip from Kilian Fischer. Well within the realms of a very normal 50-50 challenge. And what happened here? It's another yellow card, this time Damir Gergic. Again, I mean, to make the argument, that was closer to a red card offence than the first one, in my opinion. Because he came through with a lot of velocity there. And that really could have been dangerous because it was a lot more studs up. His leg was locked, whereas Yasin Yaman's was a little loose. But that's now 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 yellow cards and a red card for Koblenz in this game. Three minutes of time added on at the end of the 90. Can Koblenz do the unthinkable? Oh, dear me. Oh, Dylan Esmel. He might have got clipped afterwards, but I think the rolling on the ground here is to hide the embarrassment of how poor that cross was. Now, you know what? That's a foul from Patrick Wimmer. That should be a free kick to Koblenz as well. I know momentum plays its part there, but I really do believe that a free kick could have been given, and poor old Dylan Esmel. Now we can hear what the home fans think of the referee. The age-old traditional chant of Shiba, Shiba, Shiba. Yeah, I mean, that follow-through, it's not studs up, but it's the knee of Patrick Wimmer that then takes out the ankle of Dylan Esmel, and I mean, that really will have rattled the joint. Looks like Wolfsburg are just going to see this one out. Maybe not. It's another 50-50 challenge. Sees Koblenz commit another foul. Schulte Wissermann, the guilty party on this occasion, catching Thiago Tomasz. Just the toes. Two goals, 2 assists in that 6-0 win in the first round against TuS Maccabi last season. In the current campaign, Wolfsburg a lot less convincing. And a game which was a lot less goal-rich in the end. But maybe there's a second. Lovro Meyer, Patrick Wimmer, with a chance to test Michael Zadach one last time. It is Meyer. It doesn't dip enough, though.